Mr. President Zelensky, please deliver your statement.
Thank you so much. Gitanas, Mr. President, it's important to be here in Vilnius today. Dear friends, partners, we all want the same thing: to stop the Russian war, to bring real peace, and to make security last. That's what we are all working for. First, I informed our partners about the situation at the front. We also talked about our operation inside Russia, which has seriously weakened their military. Operation Spiderweb showed that modern war really looks like, and why it's so important to stay ahead with technology. All our joint investments in drone production, all our shared battlefield experience, everything we are doing together with our partners, it's making Europe stronger. Today, we agreed with our partners on several joint decisions that will strengthen our defense even more. I thank everyone for your willingness to help. There will be new packages, there will be new investments in Ukraine's weapon production, especially drones. Ukraine can produce much more, and we see partner investments as a way to give those partners priority access to restock their arsenals after this war. Second, I thank you all for our shared view of what diplomacy needs in order to succeed. Today, we see the situation clearly. If Russia turns the Istanbul meeting into an empty talk, there must be a new level of pressure, new sanctions, and not just from Europe. We need to work on joint sanctions at the G7 level, including with the United States and with everyone in the world who wants peace. It's very, very important that each of our partners supports this exact approach. Sanctions against Russia are necessary. It's important to seriously limit Russia's oil trade and its use of tankers. Sanctions, including secondary ones, tariffs and price caps, can work and push Russia toward peace. Without pressure, Putin will just keep playing games with everyone who wants this war to end. Talks in Istanbul just ended, and I'm waiting for the Minister of Mayor full report. They exchanged documents through the Turkish side, and we are preparing a new release of prisoners of the war. Third, the upcoming NATO summit can strengthen Europe's security, or if it sends the wrong signal, it will only encourage Putin. The key to lasting peace is clear. The aggressor must not receive any reward for war. Putin must get nothing that would justify his aggression. Any reward would only show him that war pays off. Geopolitical gains are just as important to Russia as money or territory. If Putin is allowed to decide who joins NATO, where NATO infrastructure can or can't be, then Russia's appetite for war will only grow. Our shared goal is the opposite: to completely end Russia's hunger for aggression. Ukraine is doing its part, and I am grateful to all partners who are doing theirs. And we must act as one united Euro-Atlantic community. The NATO summit in June is the right place and the right time to send a clear message. Russia will not get anything from this war. Strong decisions are needed. Decisions for Europe, not for Putin. We all need to work together to make this really happen, and it's doable. Thank you, everyone who helped us. Thank you so much.
Madam Prime Minister, it's time for your statement.
Thank you, and dear Gitanas, thank you for hosting us today, and thank you for inviting the Nordic countries to join you here today in Vilnius. Today's meeting has been about one thing and one thing only: the security of our countries and the security of our continent, deterrence and defense. The threat from Russia against all of us is real, and it is serious. Russia is continuing the war in Ukraine. Putin is talking about peace during the day and bombing at night. We see a more aggressive Russia approach in the Baltic Sea region. And it is assessed by the Danish Defense Intelligence Service that Russia sees itself in conflict with the West and is preparing for war against NATO. It is therefore crucial that we take bold and necessary decisions at the NATO summit in The Hague in only 3 weeks from now. In my mind, and what we have discussed today, there's only one way forward. We need to invest massively in our collective security, all of us, and we need to do it fast. NATO is by far the strongest military alliance in history. And so our starting point must be to focus on what is needed to continue to be so, to secure deterrence and our ability to defend ourselves. But I have to say that Russia is not deterred merely by us agreeing on a new defense spending target. We need to deliver actual capabilities, and we need to do it fast. We must make sure that NATO always has the full range of capability necessary to deter and to defend against any threat against our countries. And at the same time, we need to continue our strong and steadfast support for Ukraine's brave fight for freedom. Let me be very frank, we have to donate what is needed on the battlefield. We have to provide more financing for arms production directly going into Ukraine. We already have a mechanism that works. And I think we have to implement stronger sanctions against Russia. It goes for the Shadow Fleet. Recently, we listed almost 200 additional vessels from the Russian Shadow Fleet, but more have to come against the Shadow Fleet, against Russian banks, financial sector. And I think we have to end any remaining dependency on Russian energy, including oil, gas, and nuclear energy. And to add one more thing, lower the oil cap. I think all that on the table would put the necessary pressure on Russia to get to the table and actually negotiate on peace. And why is that? Because Ukraine deserves peace. But the peace must be comprehensive, it must be just, and it must be lasting. And it has to respect the sovereignty and territorial integrity of Ukraine. I'm sorry to say, I think until now we haven't seen any signs that Russia is willing to actually commit to any of that. So our key task at the moment has to be to put Ukraine in the strongest possible situation and position on the battlefield and or at the negotiation table. Europe, of course, needs a strong and an independent Ukraine. I believe that once again the coming month will be paramount, and we haven't got much time, and therefore we need commitment to take the right decisions on behalf of all Europeans now. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Mr. Secretary General, the floor is yours.
Thank you, President Nausėda, dear Gitanas. Thank you for hosting the B9 Nordic Summit here in Vilnius. It is a pleasure, always a pleasure to be back here in Lithuania. Lithuania is a staunch ally and continues to lead by example. You invest more than 4% of GDP in defense this year, and I welcome your plans to spend between 5 and 6% starting from next year. I think this sends an incredibly powerful message of commitment to our collective defense. And it also sets an example for our other allies. On this stage and in our meetings today, it is clear that the commitment to collective defense is strong. We have had a productive day of meetings as we continue to prepare for the summit in The Hague. We are facing the most dangerous security environment in decades. Russia's war of aggression continues, terrorist threats persist. We are not at war, but we are not at peace either. So we must continue to strengthen our deterrence and defense. And that means pivoting towards a full war-fighting readiness, providing significantly more forces that are well-trained, well-equipped, and supported with logistics, sustainment and ammunition. We continue to count on the B9 and our Nordic allies to play a key role in these important efforts. At the Hague summit, I expect allies to demonstrate their enduring commitment to our collective defense by deciding to boost defense industrial production and increase defense investment. And this is simply essential to our security. And so is delivering on the new ambitious capability targets that allies are expected to agree later this week when the defense ministers will meet here in Brussels. Not here in Brussels, but in Brussels. Today we also discussed Ukraine, a key priority for the summit in The Hague. Dear Volodymyr, we continue to support Ukraine. We know that a strong, sovereign Ukraine is essential for Euro-Atlantic security. So we have about 3 weeks left until the NATO summit in The Hague. And I look forward to working with all allies to ensure we deliver for our 1 billion people. Dear Gitanas, thank you again for your hospitality, your leadership and your unwavering commitment to our alliance.
Thank you, Mr. Secretary General. Dear journalists,